How's it going, Dopamon fans? On March 31st, 2022, in Toronto, an altercation took place between Winnipeg Jets forward Paul Stastny and Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman Justin Holl, beginning with Holl falling and placing his hand over the puck to avoid giving up possession before Stastny comes in for a late hit to his head. I've got a couple angles here so we can determine if this was an illegal hit to the head or not, and I want to get your thoughts as well on whether you think punishment should be dealt out. This was an emotional game for both teams. The Jets put up a 2-goal lead early, and Giordano opened up scoring for his team with his first goal as a Leaf. There were many missed penalties, most notably this cross-check by Heinola, which hits Bunting in the back of the head, and even an instance at the end of the game where both Wayne Simmons and Adam Lowry were both given misconducts for arguing with each other. But back to the incident at hand. This angle only really shows Holl putting his hand over the puck and earning himself a well-deserved penalty, but this angle shows more. First, Stastny clearly sees Holl had fallen down on the ice, giving him more than enough time to avoid contact altogether. Second, we see Stastny completely change angles in his skates to make contact with Holl. And third, we see Stastny not only just make direct contact with Holl's head, but follow through with a check. Holl was not injured, and Stastny was not penalized. Now, to determine an illegal check to the head, let's turn to the NHL rulebook. An illegal check to the head is one where first, the head is the main point of contact, and second, that contact with the head is unavoidable. To determine if contact is unavoidable, the NHL outlines 3 possibilities. Whether a player attempted to hit through the body, whether a player was standing low or had his head down when getting hit, or whether a player changes their body position immediately prior to or simultaneously with getting hit. In this angle, we do see that Stastny clearly makes direct contact with Holl's head. It wasn't a shoulder bump from the side, but a direct hit to the head. We also see that Stastny had seen Holl had fallen on the ice, makes the decision to turn into him, and then also makes the choice to follow through on his hit through the head rather than the body. This check was completely avoidable and unnecessary. This is an illegal check to the head. Paul Stastny is not a repeat offender. In fact, in over 1,000 career games, he hasn't so much as been given a fine, let alone a suspension. But that doesn't excuse reckless hits that have a high risk of head injury. The best comparison I can make is a little bit more extreme, but bear with me for a moment. Nazem Kadri throws this late hit to the head of Tommy Wingels after he had fallen and earns himself a 3-game suspension. Similarly to the scenario involving Stastny, Wingels had fallen and Kadri had enough time to avoid contact but followed through with a hit to the head. The notable difference is that Kadri's hit was a charge while Stastny's hit was at a much lower speed, but both are hits to the head when a player's down and in a vulnerable position. So, what do you guys think? I think the comparison to Kadri is a good example for at least some kind of punishment, that hits to the head are to be taken seriously by the NHL Department of Player Safety, as Stastny didn't even receive a penalty on the play. But obviously, I recognize that the situation is much less severe than Kadri's, and I do take Stastny's clean record into account. Personally, I think just a fine would suffice. Holl was not injured. Stastny gets a slap on the wrist, but there's still an official fine on record, and this way the NHL can show that hits to the head are being taken seriously, and hopefully a future hit to the head doesn't happen. Something more severe where a player is injured can be avoided entirely. But let me know down below what you guys think, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We're Dopamon, my best friend, and I talk hockey news, analysis, and we have a lot of content coming out for the draft, so stick around. Peace.